So this is the brand new iPhone Air, which I've been using for a couple days now. We initially thought when this was coming out, this would be called like the iPhone 17 Air, but this is, I guess, technically a brand new category. So just the iPhone Air. It is Apple's thinnest iPhone that they've ever made. Like even when I unbox this is actually the first time you see on a box like how thin a device is. It feels so different than any iPhone you've ever held. It feels so cool, so thin. If you've actually held like the Galaxy like S25 Edge, very similar feeling, but this is actually in fact made of titanium. So it still has a very nice like Pro feature. When you look actually at the new like 17 Pro, they've gone back to aluminum, and that's mostly to do with like thermal management. And you can see on the back, the Pros have that two-tone look with, of course, the glass back and the aluminum like plateau around the rest. That's to help with thermal management. But on the Air, it is just nice and clean. You still have the plateau, but it is all made out of glass. The Air is available in 4 colors. Actually, funnily enough, more color options than the Pro. So this one in sky blue, which I think is my favorite of the bunch. Also like a light gold, a black, as well as a white. Like I mentioned, the banding around the outside is in titanium. And even though this feels super, super thin, Apple claims this is the strongest device they've ever made. I actually got a chance to visit their durability lab where they do like all their IP testing, where they test like the tensile strength. Like, I'm pretty strong dude, not trying to flex on anyone. Get it? Flex. This has no weird wiggle or wobble, no matter how hard, like, that was my like thumb cracking, not the phone. It's durable. It feels like really, really sturdy, so you don't need to worry about that. I would say the biggest thing while using this is the battery life. So that is obviously like the hot topic. For example, I charged this in the morning. Right now we're sitting at like 84%, and I've kind of barely used it already. So almost like 20-ish% gone from a couple hours. If you are a power user, you sadly will have to charge this like easily by the end of the day. That's actually one of the main reasons why I'm a Pro Max user, just because I'm on. So typically you can see my screen on time is close to 11 hours, which is, quite a bit. I do this, for a living, social media stuff. So I'm always on my device. I can never get to the end of the day on my iPhone Air. So if you like average like maybe 6 to 8 hours, you might get by. You definitely need to charge this with some sort of like power bank. Just insert like the USB-C cable. And technically the battery life on this, Apple doesn't like fully disclaim their milliamp hours. I think I've seen a couple teardowns, like 3,149 milliamps. That gets you around like 27-ish hours of video playback, compared to say like 39 hours on the Pro Max. That's like over 10 hours of a difference. So that is something to definitely consider. Obviously the box doesn't have any sort of like charging brick in it. And technically Apple sells their own proprietary one. It's a bit expensive and it doesn't charge as fast. So I've been using this one from Anker. This is a 45-watt charger, which is crazy how much these have shrunk in size. So like a couple years ago, these used to be way bigger. You can now easily fit this in like an everyday pack, like in your bag. You can just kind of store it somewhere. They have just gotten so much better. You can charge your iPhone Air at its full potential from 0 to 50% in 30 minutes, and your iPhone 17 Pro or Pro Max from 0 to 50 in 20 minutes. So that's item 1 that I would grab. And I know that there was a lot of hype around this new accessory, which they even showcased in the keynote, the iPhone Air, like specifically made for the iPhone Air, the battery like MagSafe power like brick. So this one from Apple gives you around 65% additional charge to your iPhone Air. You can see it there, and it gives it a very like slim profile, but this costs $100. That's like US, like in Canada, that must be like 130 bucks. You only get 3150 extra milliamp hours. And this one from Anker gives you double the charging capacity, so an extra 5,000 milliamps versus the 65% one from Apple. And it costs like almost half the price, which I think is pretty crazy. But the biggest thing is this actually charges your device faster. So this is Qi 2 certified. So this gets you 15 watts of wireless charging compared to the Apple one, which gets you around 12. Technically, you can get like the full speed if this is plugged in, but the most things, or like you use this most of the time when you are out and about on the go. You would never like use this while it's plugged in into the extra like power bank. So definitely get this one. This one is literally, like I said, half the price. And the biggest thing out of all, this actually works with all Apple iPhones with MagSafe, since the size is universal. The one that Apple has designed strangely only fits the iPhone Air. And you can see here, it doesn't even fit my Pro Max, and it juts out weirdly. Don't buy Apple accessories. They milk you for those. I will leave those linked down below, but that is kind of like the battery issue, or like my battery experience with the iPhone Air. That aside, I think it's a really great device. Like I said, it almost feels like Apple is kind of teasing us with how thin devices are. I can almost see them having like two of these side by side, and that upcoming iPhone Fold, whatever they decide to call it, will be this same thickness. They're almost like conditioning us to feel how thin a device is, which is kind of cool. Obviously, that's like foreshadowing. That's, you know, my brain kind of thinking ahead. But yeah, it is a really nice device to hold and use and to experience like how thin the device is. I guess like second biggest thing is the camera. So sadly on this, you just have the one camera sensor. So that is a Fusion camera, 48 megapixels. When you compare that to obviously the Pro, you've got the 3, which is the ultra wide as well as the telephoto. On the standard 17, you've got the ultra wide as well as the main like wide. I don't know Apple's reasoning behind this, why they could not include like the extra ultra wide sensor on the iPhone Air. It would just make so much sense to me. They have the extra room on the plateau. Like it could just be sitting like right there in that slot. And I know a lot of people will say the entire phone is kind of like packed into this, plateau. Most of this here is like the battery. I don't know. I just wish the ultra wide would have been like included. I know that's like a make or break for some people, not having that extra like ultra wide sensor, but let me know your thoughts. If you're just like a one camera person, you just like to take the occasional shot, obviously this is good. At least on the front though, they haven't sacrificed the front facing camera, which has been a nice upgrade. That's across the entire iPhone 17 lineup. So we have that 18 megapixel center stage camera. I've mentioned this before, you no longer need to rotate the phone to get into say like a landscape shot. You just need to hit this little button and you can see that it goes nice and wide. That's because the actual sensor is square shaped, so it can take full advantage of that. It feels natural, it feels good. It's one of my favorite upgrades coming to the entire iPhone 17. The actual display, so this is 6.5 inches. This has ProMotion, so that's 1 to 120 hertz. The bezels are super thin. It's like a really nice phone to use. This does also have the A19 Pro chip, so that's the same chip found in the 17 Pro. Bit of a tongue twister. But on the flip end, I would argue if this has like a Pro chip, so you're using this for like pro things, hardcore gaming, a lot of like say photo editing, maybe some like video stuff, those tasks chew up battery, that burns through it, and once again, that will only mean you need to charge this device more and more. So it's an interesting dilemma whether they're marketing this as like a Pro phone with that Pro chip. Like the back, it gets hot. Obviously all the internals near the top, that's where you really notice it. But because this is made of titanium, there's no vapor chamber, so nothing to help dissipate heat. Obviously the aluminum on the Pro does help with that. So once again, I think like some conflicting ideas, but I get it. It's the first generation of the Air. So there's always gonna be those little things that don't really make sense. I'm sure Apple will kind of refine this as we move forward. And I guess the last thing comes down to pricing. So this starts at 256 gigs of storage, $999 or sadly, $14.49 Canadian. We get, once again, shafted with that conversion. You can also grab that in 512 or even like a terabyte if you really want to drop that extra money. This does come with 12 gigs of RAM. Once again, it's positioning itself as a Pro phone, but doesn't have some of the Pro camera features. This doesn't record in log or ProRes RAW. Weirdly enough, the one camera, I almost feel like it's a bit of like a Frankenstein device, taking features from the Pro, but also taking features from like less than the base model and kind of combining everything. I guess you're paying for the engineering, you're paying for the thinness, you're definitely not paying for the milliamp hours. But that is like my thoughts on the iPhone Air. Should you buy this? I still think the iPhone 17, for example, just like the base model, this has like ProMotion, this has like the two cameras. The A19 chip is more than capable. You don't get those like Pro camera features in either. I would say go to the store, really feel how this makes sense. I get most people will stick like a case, a bumper on it to give it some protection, but really give this a feel on how good and how interesting it feels in the hand. And remember, this is the most durable iPhone Apple has ever made, so you don't need to worry about any weird Bendgate stuff. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you did end up grabbing a new iPhone, which model would you end up grabbing? And I think this is like the orientation how Apple wants to sell them, even though technically like the one camera would be like this, but in terms of pricing, I guess they are placed this way. So the 17, 17 Air, and the 17 Pro/Pro Max. I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace.